everyone. This is Tea and Tarot. Every 2 weeks I go to the Oracle cards to find out what's happening on planet Earth and in our lives. For those who are new, it's not a private Oracle card session in that I answer everyone's individual questions, but I encourage you to set the intention for what it is that you want to create in your life for the next 2 weeks, or any questions that you might have, just put them out to the universe. And ironically, people find that I usually answer their personal questions while doing the general reading. So that's an option as well. And I just realized that today is our 1-year anniversary for doing these events. It started during COVID last year and been ongoing for a year now. So we're still at it. Every 2 weeks I go to the cards to find out what's happening with them. If you have a personal question, just kind of put that out to the universe with the intention that I will answer it as I go to the cards. This is more of a general reading to find out what's happening on the planet and collectively with all of us. I do individual personal sessions. If that's something that you want, you can book through the link in my bio. So we're going to start by going to the cards, and I have a bunch of some different decks, some new decks this morning, so I'm super excited. But I want to start with an old favorite. It's the Universal Love deck. I really think we need some extra love right now. I don't know, how are you guys doing? Like, I've talked to a few people who are hanging in there. Some people have found the energy the last few days really heavy and challenging. We just had a new moon in Aries, which is really great for like new beginnings and that fiery energy of creation. But sometimes coming up to that can feel really stagnant and stuck and just ugh. So if you're feeling that, like I've been feeling it too, it's a great time to just clean out some closets, do some stuff around the house, clear your space, try to simplify your life. Not a time to be collecting and gathering things. It's a time to be purging and letting things go so that you're freed up to have that energy to take you forward. So if you've been feeling that, I'm really affected by the moon. Hey Sherry, I'm so glad you joined. Sherry, for those of you who don't know, Sherry just has started an Instagram recently. She used to work with me at Circle of Light, and her handle is Pink Moon Energy. So definitely check out her Instagram because she's new on here, and happy to have you. It's good to see you. Okay, so the first card I pulled from the Universal Love deck is called Universal Heart. You can see it here. And it's a very, and it's not always this way with blue cards, but I'm really drawn to the emotion of this card and the blue and that deep reflective energy about going within, but also going into the emotions, which sometimes we, don't want to do or we creatively avoid. And so this card is about going into it, and not with fear, but with the energy of like an archaeological dig or excavation, like going into your emotions to really understand them so that you can finally shift them. Because it's when we avoid things, it's when we avoid our emotions through either overactivity or overeating or overexercise or over everything we do, to avoid kind of feeling sometimes. This card is coming up and it's saying we can't do that anymore. We're going to keep getting pulled back to our emotional state until we deal with it. So we do have to look at those underlying emotions and patterns that are causing us to make the choices that we're making. Doesn't mean we have to jump into like our trauma and swim around in it, but little by little, at least recognize it, notice it, be willing to work with it. And if it's too much, find someone to help you guide you through it, a healer, a friend, a loved one. But this is really important because those emotions are important. They are our soul and our body telling us what's going on in our reality and helping us clear things from our past. But it is sort of like debris that's in the way of our path forward. And so we won't be able to take that trajectory forward in the way that we want to when we're bogged down by all of this stuff. And for the empaths out there, I feel you. We're feeling everyone's stuff, including our own. So even if you keep your emotional state and your energy state nice and tidy, you might be feeling overwhelmed and bogged down by the collective consciousness right now. Everybody is going through stuff, especially in my area. I'm really feeling everyone's reaction to this lockdown. It's a really heavy energy. You're going to have days where you can't do a lot, and it's going to be a miracle just to make a cup of tea and get through the day. So take those days, take that time, do what you need to do, really step up the self-care right now. But avoiding our emotions is not going to get us where we need to go. So we do need to very gently, compassionately unpack some of that stuff. And empaths, that means in the unpacking, you need to recognize what's yours and what belongs to other people, and have a way to clear yourself from that extra energy, whether it's through smudging or incense or prayer or meditation or physical activity. Have some way in your life to disconnect from other people's energy. Because it is beautiful to be empathic and compassionate and feel other people and understand what's going on with them, but it's not great to be carrying that stuff around with you day after day along with your own stuff. Too much stuff, okay? All right. And so I know that sounded a little preachy, but I do it too, and I'm really feeling it right now, and I know a few people around me are. It's a theme that's been coming up, so I just thought I should speak to that. So we're going to go to the Work Your Light cards next. Beautiful deck. You've probably seen this on my Instagram. Every week on Wednesdays, I do a 3-card spread featuring a different deck as well, because I love decks. I have a lot of them. And I think it's just a great way to see inside of different decks, get a feel for them, especially if you're looking for one and you're not sure. It's nice to kind of see different readings with them. So this is really nice back side of the card too, which you've heard me mention before. I really love it when people do nice things on the back side of their card. Okay, so don't dim to fit in. This has come up a few times over the last couple of months. So this is still with us, this don't dim to fit in. And really, it is important to let your light shine right now. You know, we're all over the place, okay? We're all over the place. Some of us are having a really easy time of it and we're riding the wave, and other people are caught in the undertow, and then it changes. So you could be having a great week and then the following week you're on your face. So compassion is really important right now, but also being solid enough in yourself to be who you are and shine that light out there, because that light could really upset somebody, you know, and put them over the edge, but it could also really help someone who needs to see it, okay? So, and let's start viewing people who are shining their light not as annoying, but more as like inspiration, all right? Because we've all been there. We've all been in the yucky stuff, and we all want to be feeling in the good stuff. So if somebody's there and feeling the good stuff and lighting the way, let's let them light the way until we find our own path. Let's see them as inspirational, as an example of what a human being can actually do. So if someone's triggering you because they're doing something and you want to be doing it and you're getting all jealous and you're getting all in your head about it, just start taking action towards your goals. See them as inspiration. Reach out to them and say, hey, how did you do this? How did you do this great thing? Like, 9 times out of 10, people don't do things by themselves. They have a team of people behind them, okay? So if you're trying to do something by yourself and you can't seem to get there, and you're admiring people who are already there, recognize that no one does things alone, okay? And you can try, and I'm famous for doing that, and I burn myself out all the time. So, you know, we're all human beings, okay? But let your light shine in whatever way that is. Don't hide it because you're worried about making other people uncomfortable. I had this happen really recently. I started making my soap stuff again, and I was super excited about it right before Christmas. And I didn't realize I triggered like one of my students who thought I was copying her, and I'm like, I've been making this stuff for 20 years. I didn't even know you were making this stuff. And like, I was just doing my thing. I didn't know I was upsetting anyone, so I was really upset when I found out I was upsetting someone because I had no idea. So we worked it all out and everything, but I'm a little hesitant now to post a lot of stuff that I'm making because I'm like, well, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So this card is also for me. It's kind of like we can't worry about that stuff all the time. You just have to be true to your heart and true to yourself, and know that you're putting things out there with a lot of love, and know that your heart is in the right place. That's all you can do. That's all we can control. We can't control how other people react to us or take what we do. And especially now in the world, this is so important because there's a lot of judgment out there. There seems to be more judgment than compassion, where we assume the worst about people straight out of the gate, and really breaks my heart because we forget, like, people are human. Even the people we look up to, even our leaders, they're human beings. They make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But it's like we're expecting perfection from everyone, and it's really unfortunate. And so I always err on the side of compassion or on the side of like, let's get more information before we, get and put our judgment hats on. So this is about letting your light shine and not worrying about any kind of fallout from it. Just do it. Just be your happy, shiny self. We need that love out there right now. We need that high energy. We need those good vibes, because the energy's been kind of heavy. So let's shift it. Everybody be your shiny self today. Don't worry about what other people are doing. It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. All right. Yes, Sherry, and the thing is too, like, absolutely, when you help stoke somebody else's fire and help build them up, then they can take that energy and do it for another person, and that stuff's catchy. Like, fear is catchy. Fear is like forest fire. But love can also catch on too. So if you're feeling afraid, or if you're feeling kind of sad or depressed or whatever, then make a point of trying to cheer somebody else up today. If you can't cheer yourself up, then try to cheer somebody else up. And then pay that forward and see how far that can go. Because we can start our own forest fire of positive energy. It doesn't always have to be, fear and anger and sadness. We've had enough of that, so. And if you need help with that, just ask your guides and angels. They're all over that. They want us to be doing that. They will be the wind at your back. As soon as you shift into those gears, you'll feel it. You'll feel that support. Okay, and just pulled the blessing card. And also this one came up a few weeks ago too. It's really funny. Same deck, shuffling, same cards coming up. So this is about blessings. And this came up, I think, last month. And I think this card is coming up again to show us that summer is coming. Things will get lighter. Our hearts will become lighter. We'll have that joy again. There are things to look forward to. So to kind of keep that in your mind, because sometimes when we're having a hard day or when things are heavy, it's hard to see that light at the end of the tunnel. So this card is coming up to remind us that those blessings are coming, those things are coming, even if we're not feeling it yet, even if it's not, on our radar yet, it's still coming. Okay, so hang in there. If you feel like you're like, oh, I've been hanging in there for a year or something, just a little bit longer. Things are going to really lighten up as we get into the middle of spring and more into summer. There will be more movement. You'll feel like things are falling into place a lot easier, whereas right now you might feel like you've been struggling trying to make things work. There's two reasons that you hit resistance. One is that you have fear about what you're trying to create or where you're trying to go, and the fear is preventing you from pushing forward. The other is that it's not the divine right timing and that you're to wait, okay? So if you feel you've kind of been like a bull sort of trying to push forward and you keep getting that resistance and you're moving through your fear, then just take a break. Shift your focus onto something else, do something else over here, and everything over here will start to fall into place. Seriously, try it. It really works. Sometimes taking our focus off something we've been deeply focused on is what shifts the energy into movement. So, going to the Spellcasting Oracle deck next. And for those who've jumped on a bit later, just to let you know, when the replay is up, if you comment on the replay with an emoji or whatever you want to say, you'll go into a draw for a free reading with me to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of doing tea and tarot. Can't believe it's a year, but it's been a year. Anyway. Okay, so Spellcasting Oracle deck. I love this card. I just love the word on this card. Freedom. And she's in a cage there, you can see. To me, it looks like almost she's standing under an umbrella in the rain. Just that, but that oppressive feeling of being stuck, and the sign that freedom is coming. And we've often heard that saying or seen that picture, the cage door could be open and the birds stay in the cage because they're used to the confinement. And I'm feeling a little bit like this with humanity right now. We're so used to the restriction and feeling like, even with the lockdowns, like on house arrest, like not allowed to do anything, that people could say, yeah, you can go out in the world and do stuff. We're like, no, I got the hermiting thing down pat. I'm not going out in the world. But we are moving into an energy of freedom where we will be allowed to go out in the world again. We will find that we have more success in moving forward, bringing our dreams into creation. So the energy is coming. Spirit is supporting us. So please, if you're feeling trapped right now, again, just hang in there, because sometimes it can be hard to hang in there. And there have been a lot of people who've been really struggling too with mental, emotional stuff this past year. It's really hard with the isolation for some of us, and for some of us it's hard being stuck with your family. Let's face it, some of those karmic things we're working out are connected to people in our family. If you're stuck in the house with them, that stuff comes to the surface real fast. So I live on my own with my cat, and that can be hard sometimes, but at the same time I'm kind of glad my kids are at an age where they're off at college and university, because I can't imagine. I feel for the parents out there. You guys are amazing, but if you've lasted this long, it's been a wild ride. Okay, so this is the card that is coming up from the Sacred or Return of the Spirit Oracle deck. That's what the cover looks like. I love these fractal images on these cards. And you'll notice the word on this card is about writing. But to me, the image on this card takes me back to England, Knights Templar, the churches, some of the symbolism. And I feel like it's not just writing, not just journaling what's happening in your life right now, but I really feel like Spirit is asking you to journal or write and connect to some of your past lives, or your intuitive energy, or you're developing your intuition. And that's something that I always guide my students to do when they want to develop their intuition, is to journal or write. Because when the information starts coming in, it will come in small little bits and pieces here and there, or fragments and dreams, and the information won't make sense to you. But when you start to write it down, you'll start to get pieces of the puzzle, and then you'll notice after a month of writing, you're like, wow, this is really coming together, or this makes sense. And it's also confirmation that you're tuning into something and not just making crazy stuff up in your head. So Spirit's encouraging us to write right now, but soulful writing. That has to do with your soul's mission, that has to do with your past lives, that has to do with your intuition, not just about, ranting about the day, which I do encourage you to also journal and get out of your body. Like, don't leave anything pent up in here. I think it's really great to have a couple different journals. One that's your rant journal, where you just like complain and like throw it all in there. And then another journal that's for your wishes and dreams and what you want to create and your intuitive musings and that kind of thing. That one that you complain and burn it every 3 months. Have a big bonfire and just burn it and let it go. And the other one is sort of, you keep adding to it and refining it and, reading it and that kind of thing. So writing, actual writing with a pen or pencil. You can use your phone if you want, but there is something magical about putting pen to paper. There really is. So I encourage you to do that, even if you haven't done that in a very long time. All right, this is a new deck to me, and like what happens whenever I get a new deck, because I also sell Oracle card decks in my shop. So I'm like, do I need to open this one? I mean, I have 30 open already. Do I need to open another one? And this one stayed sealed for a long time until I was teaching a Reiki class recently, and I'm just like, nah, I'm cracking it open. And glad that I did, because it is a really beautiful deck, and I have loved working with it lately. So it's one of my new favorites. And Denise Lynn is the author of that deck. So I just pulled the Medicine Woman, Medicine Man card. Okay. And it's interesting to me because I've always loved working with the earth and her medicines. And I'm actually teaching Friday Night Practical Intuition, which is all about sacred plant medicine, which is another one of my interests. And this is about looking to your health and looking to what you're putting in your body, whether it's food or herbs or teas or whatever it is. But I also encourage you to look to your land, especially if you live on a property where you have your own yard or you're near a park. But look to your land and look to the plants that are naturally growing. So yes, I'm asking you to look at your weeds. What weed are you struggling with the most? Is it dandelions? Are you overrun by dandelions? Is it something else? And look up that plant online and find out what the medicinal properties are. I guarantee it's something you need, because the universe has an ironic way of proliferating our yards with the plants that we need the most. So if you have an overabundance of dandelions, no matter what you do, you might need to do a liver cleanse right now. So there is a teaching, there is a medicine in the natural world. And even notice the animals that are around you. Maybe there's certain birds or certain animals that are showing up either in real life or in the dream time, or maybe at night when you don't see them. Like I found some little raccoon handprints all over the place in my backyard the other day. And look up the spiritual meaning of those animals, because they'll also have a teaching for you as well. And teaching and medicine are the same thing. Okay, medicine and teaching, same word. So when an animal has a teaching for you, it's a medicine for you. It's a medicine for your soul. So you could have a mouse infestation in your house, or ants, or ladybugs, or whatever it is. Like that is spirit bringing something to you, bringing a message to you. And once you get that message, what's really funny is the activity usually stops. So instead of fighting the animal and trying to kill it and get it out of your house the regular way, try connecting to the energy of the animal and saying, you know, what do you have to teach me? What's the medicine you're bringing to me right now? And if you approach it that way, you'll get the richness of the wisdom from that animal, and you'll also stop the activity of them, you know, chewing the wires in your house or whatever it is they're doing. So I encourage you to do that with your plants, with your animals, with the things that are around you. Just notice, just pay attention for the next 2 weeks. See everything as a sign and everything as a magical symbol coming from the heavens. And I'm telling you, you're gonna really have some amazing miracles happen by doing that, just by shifting the energy of how you're perceiving your reality. So medicine man, medicine woman, we're to see the healing medicine in all things around us right now. Okay. All right, so this is a brand new deck, meaning that I just cracked it open a couple days ago. And it's Moonology. So Sherry, if you're still on here, you might want to get this deck, because I know you really are into the moon, as we all are, and a lot of us are affected by the moon as well. So brand new deck, and we're going to go in. Okay, so the card we're getting is all about stepping outside of our comfort zone. Everybody loves to do that. But seriously, you're being asked to step outside of your comfort zone. And when I was talking earlier about going into those emotions and trying to understand them so you can excavate them and release them, maybe that's your uncomfortable zone. Or maybe it's pushing yourself forward to do something that scares you because you know nothing about it. And I don't want to get too much into sharing personal stories, but I'm out of my comfort zone right now with my little trailer that I'm renovating. I'm not an electrician. I need to hire an electrician to help me with it, but you know, I know nothing about this stuff. And I had an electrician do some stuff in my house the other day, and they looked in the trailer and they're like, well, you need a panel and you need this. And I'm like, well, I think I need a battery because I've got 12 volt stuff, and then I have 120 volt stuff, and then how do I convert that? And you know, do I have to rip all the walls down? And so I'm just like what was going to be a simple project is now like looking huge. And I'm like, do I really need that refrigerator in there? Because that's really what's screwing everything up. Do I need to spend thousands of dollars so I can have a refrigerator running? So I don't want to do that. And so I've been online the last 2 days trying to figure out electricity and understand it and learn about it. And because I know nothing, but I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm really outside of my comfort zone in a huge way, because in the past I've always had people in my life who could help me with this kind of stuff. And now I don't. And so I have to either figure it out on my own or hire someone to do it. So I'm kind of like in the I can do this myself stage, but we'll see how far I get. I'm not going to electrocute myself. Like, I'm going to do it in a safe way, but you know, I wouldn't say that I'm like a renovator spirit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather trade with someone and do their cards and Reiki if they help me with my electrical. But that's where I'm at right now. So I'm definitely getting out of my comfort zone with that. So just know that sometimes when we're uncomfortable and afraid of something, it's usually because we have a lack of information or we don't understand something. And the beautiful thing about the world we live in is you can find that information out there. In fact, it's a bit of a problem sometimes because there's too much information out there. It can be really overwhelming. But if you have the willingness to learn something new and you're willing to kind of go for it, you can absolutely learn anything. And I think it's actually a really healthy thing to do that. Our brains need those new adventures. That's why we get excited when there are new things in our life, when we have a new job or a new partner or a new house. Sometimes some people keep having to change those things in their lives over and over again just to get that new feeling. But you don't have to do that. You can just learn something new, like learn a new language or learn a different way of doing something. So I am going into the realm of learning about electricity, even though I know nothing. It doesn't mean I want to become an electrician, but I'm going to at least understand when the electrician's talking to me about stuff instead of just standing there like deer in headlights, like, I don't know, you know? So, and then I can make more educated decisions with what I want to do with the trailer and to the level of money I want to spend on it based on my research. Now that takes time and we don't always have a lot of time, but if there is something in your life that's holding you back, you want to go forward with it, but what's holding you back is fear or not enough information, then seek it out, even if it's just baby steps, but learn more about it. And that's also true for intuition. There are still people out there that believe that some people are intuitive and other people are not, and that's the way it is, but that's not true. We all have intuition and we can all develop it further. It just takes practice, and sometimes it just takes that little bit of information or learning, which is why, you know, I do my intuition nights once a month, because I'm trying to get you all into your intuition, working with it and using it more, because it's a really beautiful thing and we need it right now to get through life, to make choices and to feel out what's right for us, especially when we're overwhelmed by too much information. It's our intuition that can be that solace or that place that we go to help us navigate and find our compass in life, because it's a crazy world out there. Okay, so I'm done talking about myself and my life and electricity. Now we're going into the Wild Offering Oracle, which is an oracle deck that has beautiful written messages in it. So it's a bit different than the other ones. It doesn't have pictures, but it's a very beautiful deck. And the card that I'm pulling is about forgiveness. So that's the card there. It's got these beautiful poppies on it. I love poppies. I just love them. I love everything about them. The papery petals. I mean, I don't even have any in my yard. I need to get some this year. They're such happy flowers to me. So forgiveness, and not just of yourself, but for other people too. Okay. And like I mentioned earlier, I think that we need to really step up our love and compassion right now. There's a real kind of theme of rushing to judgment or rushing to assume. And also understanding that everyone's in a different place right now. Some people are very stressed and some people are not so stressed. And so we need to have compassion because we don't fully understand someone's backstory. Like, we can assume by what they're putting out there on their social media or, you know, but we don't know what's happening on in the back end of their life, the things that they aren't showing to the public or aren't talking about. So we don't know what someone else's struggle is. And so I think to be out there with kindness and compassion and forgiveness, if other people have hurt you or if you've hurt them or hurt yourself, that's important right now, because we don't need the energy of hatred and judgment or anger and fear out there right now. We have too much of it, guys. So really focus on yourself first here with the forgiveness. Okay, so maybe look at yourself and look at some of the things that are really bothering you about yourself right now. And just like be willing to look at them and be like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, I'm really upset with myself that, I don't know, for whatever, okay, I'll start. I'm not happy with myself right now because my physical activity has taken a decline from COVID, and just, you know, not walking around and doing my normal things and yoga every day and all of that. And I've put weight on from that, not from sitting around eating, just from not moving as much. And so that really bothers me. So I need to, instead of feeling more bad about it and not doing anything about it, to forgive myself and be like, okay, it's the way it is, but today I'll go for a walk or I'll take baby steps. Some of us think we have to have these outrageous, huge goals and it's all or nothing. And it's not that. If you have just a 1% improvement every single day, that's all you need to keep that momentum and get it going. Just 1%. So for those of you who are like me and you go big with your goals and then get overwhelmed, we're going to have baby goals for the next 2 weeks. Little micro, tiny ones where make a list of little things you're going to do. And then you can actually check them off the list instead of looking at your list at the end of the week and being like, oh gosh, I'm rolling it over to next week. Okay, so mini lists. And if you can't do that, get some really tiny sticky notes so you can only write 2 or 3 things on them. We're going to do it that way. But definitely forgiveness for yourself, forgiveness for others, for whatever it is you feel you haven't been dealing with well, or whatever you need to forgive yourself for. Start with yourself first, and then when you do that and have compassion for yourself, you will be more willing to give it to other people. Because we have a hard time giving to other people what we won't give to ourselves. It's so true. So it might seem self-centered to always be like, go to yourself first, work on yourself first. But it's actually really loving, helpful to other people when you do that, when you cultivate that relationship with yourself and that forgiveness with yourself, then you're able to give that to others. So, okay. I totally just chugged my coffee. I almost wore it. Famous for doing that. So let's go to this deck that's very new as well. It's got that new deck smell. Okay, so I just, oh, and there goes the deck. One just fell over. So this deck is the Angel Guide Oracle by Kyle Gray. I don't know if you guys have played with this one. And this is the deck that I will be using on Wednesday for the 3-card on my Instagram. And the cards are still sticking together. It's so new. They're really beautiful illustrations in this deck. And very colorful, you know. A lot of angel decks are pinks and purples and, you know, those colors, and orange. So nice, juicy orange color. So kudos to Kyle for, I think I might have said it was Alex Gray. It's Kyle Gray. Alex Gray is the artist that does the awesome energy field pictures. Okay, inner child healing. You know, compassion for yourself. Sometimes the trauma in our lives, or the things in our lives that affect us the most now, happen in childhood or when we're younger. And it doesn't mean necessarily that we had to have a traumatic childhood. Like, you could have something upsetting happen that now as an adult you'd laugh about, but as a child it was really upsetting and sad for you, or like a very profound experience. So when you're having trouble having compassion for yourself, what I love to say to my clients is, imagine yourself as a 5-year-old child. How would you speak to that child? How would you offer help to that child? What would you do? And the way you would act and react to that child is very different than how you would treat your adult self. Okay, so for those of you who really struggle with the self-forgiveness and the self-compassion, I want you to, for the next 2 weeks, every time you're going to say something mean to yourself, or, you know, mentally in your head or out loud, I want you to imagine yourself as that 4 or 5-year-old child. Merlin. Sorry, my cat's messing with it. Merlin. Oh dear. Just hold on. Merlin. Go on. He's trying to knock over it. We'll see. If it goes flying, I'll fix it. But he's crazy today, my cat. First he was eating the cards, but anyway, I got sidetracked. Imagine that you're your childlike self. I'm gonna have to do something about my cat. Merlin. Good Lord. Right, inner child. I have an inner child cat. He's insane. Oh Lord. So just imagine yourself as that small child, and then you'll find you'll be able to give love and compassion to your small child. And you might feel like you want to go do something fun that your inner child would do, like finger paint or go swinging in the park. I might have mentioned this before, and those who know me probably know I do this, but like, I love, I have a love-hate relationship with running, and I'm not running right now because I'm trying to lose weight before I start running again, because it's too much weight to throw down on the pavement. But when I used to run, what I would love to do is go to the park after and then swing on the swings, which I know is ridiculous. Like, if anyone walked through the park, they'd be like, this old lady is like swinging on the swings, like, just like, yeah. Because my inner 5-year-old freaking loves swinging on swings. And so I'd go for this run and I'd torture myself through the run, and then I'd be like, but I get to swing at the end. And that's what would kind of, yeah, Sherry, that's funny. Yeah, my cat is a little bit like me. I guess he's a bit completely bonkers. But anyway, so, you know, your inner child might want to do fun things, right? My inner child likes to swing and play in the sand, and, you know, which is probably why I like pottery so much, and create things, and also make messes. I'm great at doing that, you know, and just run through the field. So I love it when I have friends that like doing crazy stuff with me, like have chair races down the main street in Dundas. Haven't done that yet, but all of you with desk chairs with wheels, I think we should gather and have a chair race down the street, because why not? Anyway, I got distracted. Okay, so now that you're all wondering if I'm totally insane, I am. So now we're going to go to the Life Purpose Oracle. But have fun in whatever way you can. We're all going a little loopy here, so as long as you don't have any bodies in the freezer, we're all good. Okay, I pulled the Spiritual Teacher card, which is Spirit probably saying to me, you shouldn't be doing this. Okay, so this isn't just about being a formal teacher, although some of you probably are. So for those of you who are, Spirit's like at your back and saying, get on with it, like get out there and get teaching and doing your stuff. But the Spiritual Teacher card is coming up saying to those of you who don't consider yourself a spiritual teacher, but to consider the stuff that comes out of your mouth sometimes. Like, we are always teaching and healing and sharing, and your experiences are very valid, and when you share that with another person, you can give them hope, or you can give them inspiration. So go through the next 2 weeks, not just getting through life in the regular way, but realizing that you have impact, even when you feel that you don't have impact, and that your words or your guidance or your energy can be the thing that helps get someone from A to B. Okay, so let's start doing that. Let's all be spiritual teachers for the next 2 weeks and try to be mindful about how we speak to other people, how we interact with them, how we support them, how we love them. And just notice at the end of the 2 weeks if you feel a lot lighter, if things around you feel a lot more positive, because we've had enough of the heavy, you know? So let's try shifting it into something else and see how that goes. Sound good? Awesome. Okay, what deck are we going to go to now? Let's go to the animal one that I love so much. Colette Barron reads Animal Spirit Oracle. It's a big deck. Sometimes decks are expensive, so I get really excited when the expensive ones at least are like have more cards. For those of you who are also out there buying Oracle decks all the time, you know what I mean. You almost need a separate job just to support the Oracle card habit. So, and I've mentioned this in past episodes, you know, I know we're not gathering where we live in the world right now, but you can get together with friends and just trade decks. If you get bored of a deck and you're done with it, just trade with friends, because then they'll love it and you'll get a new deck that you haven't worked with before. I know there's some people that say you should never let anyone touch your Oracle or Tarot deck. You should never share a deck with someone else. Some people don't let you touch their deck at all. I always have my clients shuffle the deck to put their energy on it so their cards come up. So everybody has different beliefs around that. I'm not telling you what to believe, but I'm a big believer in it doesn't matter, and you can always smudge something if you feel like the energy's been compromised. But Lizard Spirit. This card is about dreaming the world into being. That's what the words say. I am really drawn to the wings on the lizard. So this card to me is a card that's telling us to get ready. So when I mentioned earlier, it might feel like we're in a bit of a stagnant energy, or it might feel like if things aren't happening in your life right now and you're like, oh, why does this energy feel so stuck right now? Try to view that as a resting period, and taking stock and reassessing and clearing out and getting ready. Because the message that I'm intuitively getting from this card is saying, like, in the next 3 weeks, things are going to shift, and it's going to be a fast forward energy. And so use this time, if you have some time right now, to get yourself organized and ready, because I think when we hit this energy, it's going to be like everything happening at once. And the more organized you are now, the easier it will be to kind of, like, it's like running and jumping on a fast moving train is kind of the image I'm seeing in my head. So so if things feel slow now, don't worry, they're not going to be that way forever. Okay, I have to just take another cat break here. So little Nerf ball. For those who don't know, I have a crazy cat who plays fetch. And so he keeps, anyway, go get it, Marilyn. He wants to play fetch with me right now. He doesn't understand that I'm otherwise occupied. So that's what's going on. And when I was ignoring him, he's like, oh, I'm going to choose some of her cards. And then when I ignored that, he started like moving the tripod. So I had to throw a ball for him. He's really insane. He used to fetch those little creamer seals that came like on juice or cream. Not the cap, but the thing that you pull out. That was his favorite toy to fetch. But now he's got these Nerf balls, and it's really weird to see your cat kind of running along with a little ball in their mouth. Like, it's like he's in the wrong body. He was supposed to be a dog, I'm sure of it. Anyway. Okay, so this will be our last card. So for our last card, I just pulled the Star from the tarot deck, which is a really beautiful card of hope. It's one of my favorite cards. Like, really, there's nothing about this card that's not to love. So it's a card of hope. It's a card that things are going to get better. It's a card that you're going to feel more connected to yourself if you haven't been. It's a card telling you that the soul part of yourself is there, even if you don't feel it, and it's got you. Like, it's supporting you, and you're on your path. And if you don't feel you're on your path, you're going to be moved onto your path. Like, this is a card of you can't screw life up right now. Okay, so if you've been struggling lately, if you've been having a hard time, then for the next 2 weeks, all I want you to do is just take care of your space. Clean your closets, get rid of stuff, or get stuff ready to get rid of if you can't donate it right now because of, lockdown. But take care of your space. Like, move some furniture around, repaint, do whatever you need to do, but take care of your interior space and maybe your exterior space, do a bit of things outside, and just do that, okay? Do a bit of writing, do a bit of journaling, be willing to look at your emotions, and just do that. And just try to be kind to yourself and other people. That's all you have to do. And for those of you who are doing okay right now, it's time to get off your butts and go out there and with your goals and your dreams and just do it. Because Spirit's like, we've got you, just do it, okay? So wherever you're at right now, if you're just trying to get through the day, you're gonna do little things, little micro goals, little mini goals. And for those of you who are in a better place and you're just letting fear hold you back from doing something that you wanna do, you're gonna push through it. Sound good? All right, so I usually do go to my angel wing deck to finish, and I don't know where that deck is. Just bear with me. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I will end with this deck, because I always do. It's become a thing. So I will pull a gold wing, silver wing, and then a double circle one. And for those who join late, if you comment on the replay, when the replay is posted, I'm going to choose someone. I'm just random. I'm going to put all your names in a hat, like the old-fashioned way. And you'll win a personal reading with me to celebrate the 1 year anniversary of doing Tea and Tarot. The sad thing about that is that COVID has been going on that long. Oh, crazy, right? But the good news is somebody's going to get something free. It'll be fun. Okay, so the silver wing, steady crystal energy and wisdom. Okay, so for those of you who are into your crystals, get them out, dust them off, play with them, have fun with them. For those who are new to crystals, go get some crystals. Seek health and wholeness for this card here, the gold wing card. So also that includes looking at the weeds in your yard. There might be a message there for you from the medicine man, medicine woman card. There might be a message there, something that your body needs to heal from, and you might have the ingredients in your backyard. The key is winter for rest and preparation. Well, I think we're done with winter. So, but we might still feel like we're in a bit in the energy of winter right now. I feel like winter isn't over, and that it does feel a bit like the energy's kind of been hermity, hibernating mode. So use it for rest because we're coming out of it, and then it's going to be go time. All right. So thank you, everyone. It was really wonderful to see you this morning. It's always good. It's just good to have this to look forward to in the mix of everything else. So I hope that you had fun, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. And then in the meantime, you can find me on Instagram or my website, circleoflightwellness.com. Lots going on, and yeah, stay in touch. So great. Okay. Bye, everyone. Have a great day out there.